Well, they say that the sun shines on the righteous, and that certainly appears to be the case here as the cars are getting ready to go out for the final race at Brands Hatch in the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship. Kevin Ludford starts on pole position because of the reverse nature of the grid for this final race. That means James Coleman and Adam Southgate, the guys who have been quickest all weekend, are going to have to fight their way through the field. But both have had problems in the previous two race starts. What's going to happen as they go into the first corner? It's over to Jake Sanson to find out.
We have no idea, Lloyd, but as you said before, it's going to be totally righteous. Kevin Ludford and Andrew Baker on the front row of the grid from Andrew Porter and Toby Smales, Alex Stocker and Kevin Molyneux on row 3 from Gary Lawrence and Adam Southgate, Ed Hayes, James Coleman and Matthew Harris, with Hugh Burt leading the charge of the 924s from Gavin Johnson and David Jones, the winner of the first two races. We love to save the best till last in the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship. Reverse grid racing, why on earth not? Red lights are on, we're waiting for the start, and here it is. James Coleman is wanting a much better start than before, and he has, so too has Adam Southgate. But as they head for the first corner, Ludford is going to hold on to the lead for the moment as we jostle into the first corner, and Ed Hayes is going to split up the middle of Porter and Southgate and go right round the outside as we dive for the inside line of the 28 of Andrew Baker. Very hard to keep up with as they charge through, but it's going to be Ludford who leads the way from Smales, Molyneux, Lawrence and Southgate side by side with Coleman, who gets up the inside. Now it is going to be the 45 of Southgate, but he tank slaps it out of the corner of Graham Hill Bend as they go up to Cooper Straight. James Coleman thought he had an opportunity to go for it. Now Smales has got the lead. He's got past Ludford. Here comes Molyneux trying to come right round the outside of Ludford, but Lawrence is going to get up the inside of both of them and moves for second position. Southgate's going to use the open door to get by as well. Molyneux needs to get across before Coleman gets up the inside line. Coleman's going to swing to the left. He goes the other way. Ludford's going to be up the middle. Southgate now dives for the inside. Coleman gets there as well. Yes, brilliant stuff. Oh, that was absolutely, I'm lost for words. Speechless. Absolutely fantastic. Well, now Ed Hayes has got Molyneux to his inside line as they drop down out of Druids. Molyneux has got that move done, or has he? Because Hayes is there on the inside line. Thank you very much, Kevin. I'll get through. Really exciting stuff, though. That four-card squabble as they came over the start-finish line. Truly spectacular. Now James Coleman is lining up Adam Southgate. He might have had a move on the inside, but Southgate's too busy dealing with Lawrence. Lawrence gets the back end out. But at the moment, it is Smales who leads the way. Lawrence second, Southgate third from Coleman in fourth. And both of these guys, Southgate and Coleman, are going to be absolutely resolute to get through. Hayes is fifth, Molyneux in sixth position. They come up towards Paddock Hill Bend yet again. Now, is Coleman going to wait around for a chance to get past Southgate, or is he just going to go hungry? Up on the inside, Lawrence has a little bit of a look at Smales. No way through for the moment. And now he's going to try and get a move on the exit. Smales runs very deep, but he's going to chop across on Lawrence. Lawrence is going to sell him the dummy of the century. Up on the inside and takes the lead. Brilliantly done from Graham Hill Bend there, and a fantastic manoeuvre, but Southgate and Coleman have made the move through as well. Coleman is all over the back of Adam Southgate. He's like an angry wasp round a picnic. He's doing his absolute utmost to get past, but now Southgate's got to get on the inside of Gary Lawrence. I've lost count of how many overtakes we've had in these first few laps. That's why we love the reverse grid races. Now Kevin Molyneux trying to squeeze on the inside of Smales, who is down to fourth position. But Molyneux's going to try and make his bid to come through. Actually, no, that's not fourth, is it? That's fifth. Molyneux is now going for fifth position on the inside of Smales, and he's gone through. So Lawrence leads, Southgate, Coleman, Hayes, Molyneux and Smales, and up the inside Lawrence is desperately hanging on. Southgate's got Coleman to his inside line. Southgate leaves him room, but chops the door shut. Now Coleman's going to try and get back on the inside of Graham Hill Bend. Nothing doing. Through the left-hander, onto the Cooper straight again. So back on board once again with James Coleman. Back into Surtees. Up the hill, a little bit of a slide from Southgate as he runs in second position. Trying to make his bid to come past Gary Lawrence. He's going to get a very good run off the turn this time, and surely out of Clark, there's not going to be a lot that Southgate can do but surge past Lawrence. He's going to get an opportunity. He's not quite close enough. I thought he might have been out of Clark, but down the Brabham straight, he's going to need to set him up again. Coleman is right there in third. Hayes is in fourth. Nice bit of a wobble from these guys. Coleman drops down, out of Paddock Hill Bend and up Hailwood Hill once again. Southgate's going to go for the inside again. Lawrence defends and Hayes is side by side with Coleman. Coleman shuts the door on last year's champion. On board with Kevin Molyneux. He's got a front row seat of all of the action as Southgate again tries to go for the switchback on Gary Lawrence. This time Lawrence is moving to cover. Southgate thought he could outsmart him, but he is ready for him. Coleman is now swarming all over the back of Southgate. They're braking very tentatively for Surtees because Gary Lawrence is dictating the pace, trying to second guess the man who has just become the champion, and Coleman at the inside of Southgate. There's not a lot of room. They're going to have to sort this one out. And Southgate squeezing Coleman nearly to the pit wall, but Coleman's going to keep his foot in, and he gets up the inside of Southgate. That will do nicely, and now Hayes is going to come up the inside of Southgate. Take that! Last year's champion gets through this year's champion. That's what an overtaking move looks like, Adam. I bet you'd forgotten. Very good move. Absolutely brilliant. Hayes shows Southgate how he beat him in last year's championship as Southgate drifts a little bit wide. And now Hayes is going for the move on Coleman. He wants a win. Only two drivers have won races in 2018. Southgate and Coleman. A really exciting battle as they come up Surtees once again. Is there going to be a move from Coleman on the inside of Gary Lawrence? Yes, there is, and it's going to be late. Brilliant. Absolutely solid. That was a brilliant move for the lead, and I have a feeling that with Coleman now in front of Gary Lawrence is not going to see which way he went. Down the main straight, Lawrence is going to try one more time to see if he can overhaul Coleman. I think he's got more problems. Lawrence is going to get in there. He taps Coleman. Coleman gets sideways. What a save from Coleman, but he drops back. So Coleman is now down to fourth. Molyneux sails past him into fourth position, but Coleman gets him straight back again for fourth place. James Coleman, save of the century. Now, has he got damage? Is the back end kicked out big time? I'm not entirely sure if he's going to be able to hang on to that. But James Coleman, a chance of the victory gone for the moment. There's still quite a way to go as Southgate gets another look up the inside of Ed Hayes. He's not going to get through there. Now Hayes is going to dive up the inside for the lead himself on Gary Lawrence. Lawrence keeps that door firmly shut. Well, that's why we love these weekends. Race 1 isn't bad, race 2 is pretty good, but race 3 is the race of the weekend. It always is. And now Adam Southgate is desperately trying to keep Ed Hayes behind him. Now that Southgate has got back through into second place, he does not want to let last year's champion through. He moves across and across and across. As Hayes is there at the inside, it's too late. Hayes is through into second position, and Coleman's going to get a cheeky look on the inside. This race just keeps getting better. And so now it's Lawrence leading, Hayes second, Southgate third, and Coleman fourth. So can Ed Hayes make a bid to get past Gary Lawrence and become only the third different winner of a race this season overall? As James Coleman trying to get past Adam Southgate, who's got a loose window panel flapping in the breeze. Coleman trying to get through on the inside of Southgate. I may not win the title this year, Adam, but I'm going to give you a straight fight. So now James Coleman back on the pace. And they hug the pit wall as you always do here at Brands Hatch as they go down the Brabham straight. And they tuck out to the left-hand side, ready for the braking zone for Paddock Hill Bend. Brake, turn in on the power. Let the car cruise down the hill. We're on board with Kevin Molyneux, and you'd never have thought that James Coleman had spun a couple of laps ago. Well, I say spun, he's just about hung on to it as Hayes goes for Lawrence. Lawrence hanging on to that inside line for dear life as they come off Druids once again. Oh, Hayes is going to get alongside. He's on the grass, but he's through. And Hayes is going to get through. Southgate's going to get through as well. And Coleman's going to finish the job. Coleman through in the third. Oh, superb. All three of them got through that time. That was absolutely magic. So now Hayes leads. Oh, Southgate's got a bit wide under braking for McLaren and through clearways. So they come out onto Clark Curve. That was very close indeed there for Southgate. He almost chucked it into the chicken house as they come over the line. So now this is going to be a great opportunity for Kevin Molyneux to go after Gary Lawrence. Can he beat Gary Lawrence in a straight fight on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit? It is going to be tough. Lawrence has taken an awfully long time to be overtaken by both, by all three actually. Hayes, Southgate and Coleman all getting through, but Lawrence made them really work hard for it. A very creditable effort there from Gary Lawrence to keep them behind for as long as possible. But unfortunately, he just couldn't keep them back. So now Kevin Molyneux is going to get his opportunity. Here he goes. The Ultimate 33 car trying to make its way through into the lead. He may get a crack into clearways. There is James Coleman, 0-0. Oh, James! That was one heck of a save. I'll tell you what, he was looking a lot more Colin McRae than Andre Lotterer, the Porsche, going sideways there. James Coleman, another terrific save. That's two in one race. Dear oh dear. So now we're going to get this battle through to the end as Gary Lawrence closes up on James Coleman. Up through Paddock Hill Bend, up Hailwood Hill once again, into Druids Bend. And this is not going to be easy to settle because these five are still very close together with only about 10 minutes left of racing. We're at the halfway point. So now with only 10 minutes to go, we get down into the braking zone for Graham Hill Bend. And up Cooper Straight once again. It's settled out again just for the moment, but I don't think it's going to be long before Southgate has closed up on Hayes. Coleman is still trying to reel them both in. Lawrence is looking very loose, I have to say, through Surtees and McLaren. And as they come up to clearways, Kevin Molyneux has got a run on him, so let's see what he can make of it. Back on the power. Look at that, Gary Lawrence has been able to drive away from him as they go through Clark Curve, so Molyneux not able to get close enough to make the move into P4 just yet. He's definitely sizing him up for an overtake. Let's see what happens into the next lap as they go out of Paddock Hill Bend, up Hailwood Hill once again. Hayes in front of Southgate, Coleman is third, fourth is Lawrence, and fifth place is Kevin Molyneux. Still these five absolutely glued together. Trying to keep an eye on what's going on behind is not easy, as we've still got Toby Swales battling away with the likes of Alex Stocker and Kevin Ludford trying to get into the mix as well. So let's see how these guys continue to battle. Andrew Porter has currently got Toby Smells, and I think that is Matthew Harris not far away for company. There is Hugh Pert. Hugh Pert doing a good job at the moment as he runs in there in a fine fettle. Now, it's not been as easy a race for the drivers in the 924s. Gavin Johnson leads the way, Hugh Pert in second. We didn't see what happened, but unfortunately David Jones is out of this race, so David Jones is not going to get the hat-trick. It looks like Gavin Jones is going to take one step closer to the Porsche 924 title. He can't wrap it up this weekend. Hugh Pert has still got a mathematical chance of overhauling him in the final round. So Gavin Johnson knows that he's going to take this title down to the wire. Adam Southgate is already confirmed, of course, as the Toyo Tires Porsche Champion for 2018. So from his point of view, he just needs to bring it home and make sure that the Porsche Boxster is still Boxster shaped. But there is Hugh Pert, still trying to chase down Gavin Johnson. But the way Johnson is going, he's going to beat Hugh Pert to the flag in 3 consecutive races. 2 seconds and a win would definitely give Gavin Johnson pole position mentally heading into the season finale. So this has been a really good run from Gavin Johnson, and he can be very positive heading to the final round at Donington Park in a few weeks' time. So here we go once again for Gavin Johnson. He leads as they go through Druids, down Hailwood Hill once again. There's not a lot that Hugh Pert can do, except basically just keep drilling in those lap times in the hope that he's got a little bit more speed than his opponent to deal with it. These guys are around the 58s and low 57s compared to the Boxsters who are in the 54s. So that 4 seconds a lap is being made up as we ride back on board with Kevin Molyneux in behind Gary Lawrence, still having a go for 4th position if he can find a way through. But at the moment, it is still the battle for the victory between Ed Hayes and Adam Southgate as they lap the 28. Out of the way gets Andrew Baker, and he gets through. So Andrew Baker's got some kind of technical difficulty, the car not running at optimum speed, and there's a real danger that if he keeps having these problems, he could even get passed by the 924 category, because he is closing in on them. They are closing in on him, I should say, sorry. James Coleman coming up to lap the man in second, the man in front, that's Andrew Baker, my apologies. I'm so busy watching these two, I'm getting confused. And now we've got the 45 Adam Southgate all over the back of Ed Hayes. Has he got a chance of coming through and getting this victory? It is going to be very tight, he knows that. But Adam Southgate wants to get 2 wins out of 3. He's not going to get the hat-trick, because obviously James Coleman took a win off him in race 2. But having got away from Coleman and having got ahead, he now wants to disappear out in front. Now the traffic coming up is going to be the 2 924 drivers, Gavin Johnson and Hugh Pert in the lead. So you can see how quickly they are running away from Andrew Baker. Kevin Molyneux's got his hand in the air. Has Kevin Molyneux got a problem? Oh, he has. Kevin Molyneux's pulling into the pits. It looks as though his race and his weekend are over. What a shame. What a shame for Molyneux. Well, he was having a great race there in the top 5. But sadly, he's going to give that 5th place over to Andrew Porter, who's still battling away with Toby Smales. Meanwhile, Adam Southgate is desperately trying to get past the last year's champion. I was going to say the reigning champion, but he's not anymore, is he? Because Adam Southgate has now sealed the crown. But it is deja vu between these two drivers. It's just like last year. Good old times again. Ed Hayes versus Adam Southgate. So I wonder, is the fact that Southgate has now won the title enough to tempt Ed Hayes off the sofa more regularly as they come off the final turn? I notice actually that Gary Lawrence's car has got bright orange rear rims, and it looks to me as though the front rims of Ed Hayes' car are bright orange. I wonder if they could just swap sets, and then they could all have 4 matching wheels as they get tight in behind. Now somebody's gone off there at the first corner. I think that's Molyneux's bumper, you know. They just about managed to get past Gavin Johnson without too much trouble, but I think that's Molyneux's bumper. That might be why he's out of the race, because that's fallen off the car. I think he's picked up damage somewhere, and as a result, there's yellow flags at the first corner. So they've got to be very careful about overtaking. Meanwhile, all of that means that with the leaders lapping Gavin Johnson, Hugh Pert has caught him up, and Adam Southgate has got that little bit closer to Ed Hayes. So they're going to go up the hill, through Surtees, into McLaren. Can Adam Southgate finally make that move for the victory on Ed Hayes? Hayes was last year's champion and beat Southgate through the season, but of course he's now only had a partial campaign in 2018. Southgate in his current form has been almost invincible through the season. As you can see in the pits there, Kevin Molyneux, the mechanics not looking particularly fruitful about his situation, and you can see there, look, his bumper is almost directly on the racing line, so they've got to be careful, and I think that's going to have to be left there for the rest of this race. Fortunately, this race doesn't have long to go now, less than 5 minutes, so they've just got to be careful. They now know that the bumper is there, so don't make an overtaking move into Paddock Hill Bend, basically, because the yellow flags are out. The bumper is on the inside line if you were going to make an overtaking move, but Southgate now knows that, which means he's got to overtake Ed Hayes somewhere else. Up towards Surtees, up towards McLaren as well, through the right, brake, turn in. Now they're going to have, who's that in front of them? I think that's Matthew Harris, after his wheel spinning antics in race 2. But he's had a much more solid drive in race 3, and his pace has been a lot more consistent. But he is about to get lapped, Matthew Harris, just as Johnson, Pert and Baker were. He's not too far behind Kevin Ludford either, Matthew Harris, so this could still come his way. He's got a bit of time to make up yet. But there is Matthew Harris, who is still having a very successful first season as a Porsche Boxster full-fat race spec driver. He was in the productions last year, of course, as was his main rival for that season, Andrew Baker. He moves out of the way, lets both of the leaders through. So Ed Hayes and Adam Southgate both sweep by. There's not a lot of racing left to seal this one, as Ed Hayes tries to get his move to cover Adam Southgate. Southgate's going to go the long way, Hayes is going to struggle to keep that inside line as they come out of clearways and down towards Clark Curve just because of the way the car drifts out of the corner. But he does move across, and we are running short on time here. Adam Southgate is running out of opportunities to get the victory. He's going to make the lunge to the inside line. I think a marshal has now managed to get out there and move that bumper, so well done to the Orange Army. Not an easy situation to find themselves in, as Hayes again defends to the inside line through Druids. Racing can continue all around the circuit, and Hayes was a little bit sluggish out of Druids. He got a love tap there from Southgate, who had to back out of it. Oh, that was close. Very, very close indeed, and now Coleman has got them both on the run. So we're going to get a bit of a showdown in the final couple of laps of this race. Just when we thought the fisticuffs from earlier were enough, we're going to get a very close score between these three now. That moment has certainly spiced things up with only a few seconds practically left of this race. We're in the final couple of minutes. I think we're only going to get 2 more laps in the board. So they're going to come through this time by. In fact, we might only get enough time for just one. Coleman watching on as they go through Paddock Hill Bend. It's going to be tight as to whether this is the last lap or the penultimate one, because we're looking at the clock trying to see how many seconds there are left. But Ed Hayes is going to hang on for the lead at the moment. Southgate is right there in second. Coleman breathing down his neck. I love reverse grid races in the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship. It throws all sorts of pandemonium and nail-biting intensity into the final race of the weekend. Coleman now practically spitting the exhaust fumes of Southgate's Porsche. He's that close to him, but Ed Hayes has got a crucial gap as they come into the final corner. And I think we are going to get one more lap in. So here we go, one more time of asking. And it's going to be very close as they come across the line. No, we are going to get the checkered flag, but there's a penalty being handed out to Ed Hayes. Ed Hayes is going to get a 5-second penalty. We are going to get one more lap. My apologies. Ed Hayes has got a 5-second time penalty, and that is for exceeding track limits. Now, that means that he's not going to be able to win this race unless these two behind him have an incident and drop 5 seconds back. So Ed Hayes has just got to hang on to this lead and hope that something happens to these two behind. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So Ed Hayes is going to get a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. He will not get the victory from Southgate's point of view. He just has to hang on behind the number one. So Hayes is going to get the win on the road, but with track limits, he's going to drop to third behind James Coleman and, crucially, behind Adam Southgate. Hayes will win the race on the road. That will be a nice bit of pride, but officially, it's Southgate who wins it. Second position will be Coleman. Third is Hayes from Gary Lawrence and Andrew Porter. Smales, Stocker, Ludford, Harris, and Gavin Johnson is going to get the 924 victory over Hugh Pert. Baker finishes behind them on the road. 2 retirements, Kevin Molyneux and David Jones. The champion is Southgate. The 924s will be decided next time.